Hi there. I'm Jennifer Roberts, and I have been an elected official in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. I've been the mayor of Charlotte and a Mecklenburg County commissioner. And I am joining you now to be the host for the next item in the series of Vote for Your Life in 15 minutes or less, sponsored by AMP America. And today's topic is local elections and you. Now, I want to specify that I am talking about Charlotte and Mecklenburg County because North Carolina has 100 counties. And believe it or not, every county is slightly different in the way they run their elections, in the year they have elections, in the dates, and the offices. There's a lot of similarities, but each one is unique. And so I'm going to talk about Charlotte and Mecklenburg. I want to point out on this slide the two government sources of information on elections. There are a lot of third parties out there that think they have information as well, but these are ones with multiple security that are very hard to hack and they can be trusted. So I would highly recommend, if you want the accurate information for where you vote, when you vote, who you're voting for, you can go to the Mecklenburg County website for local elections, and that is vote.mecnc.gov. Or you can go to the State Board of Elections. That is NCSBE, that's the North Carolina State Board of Elections.gov. That's the best way to get your information. So let's talk a little bit about local elections. These are all the local elected offices that we have in Mecklenburg County. We have city council and mayor, but remember there are 7 cities and towns in Mecklenburg County. Each of them has their own election. We have the Mecklenburg County Commission. We have the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. We have the sheriff, the clerk of court, district attorney, judges, register of deeds, soil and water supervisors, and municipal and county bonds. Very important. This November, there will be a school bond on your ballot. What I've highlighted in bold, city council, mayor, board of education, and bonds, those are on the ballot in November 2023. So here are the 7 municipalities that lie within Mecklenburg County. Charlotte, which has partisan elections for mayor and city council. Not every town has. Many towns are nonpartisan. They don't tell you if the candidates are Democrats or Republicans. Then we have Davidson, Cornelius, and Huntersville in the northern part of our county, and Matthews, Mint Hill, and Pineville in the southern part. There's even a tiny bit of Stallings in Mecklenburg County. I'm going to talk first about the city of Charlotte and the services that cities provide. Now, again, Mecklenburg County is a little special because the city of Charlotte is so large. It's about 75% of the county. And so what the city and the county have done over the years is divide their responsibilities. So again, not every county and every town in other parts of North Carolina are going to have quite the same mix of services. But here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, I like to think of the separation as the city takes care of infrastructure, buildings and roads and zoning, and the county takes care of the people part of government, human services, social services. Let's look at this a little more closely. On this page, you see a bunch of things that the city takes care of. We have roads and streets and streetlights, although there are some roads that are controlled by the state, but a lot of them are local roads controlled by the city. We have the airport. We have our Charlotte Police Department, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. We have the Charlotte Fire Department. We have the Charlotte Area Transit System. Now, a lot of these provide county-wide services, including Charlotte Water. Did you know Charlotte Water actually supplies water to the entire county? And again, this is something they consolidated years ago. What you see in this picture is what's called the water wagon. You can actually Arrange to have the water wagon visit your neighborhood meeting if you want to get fresh, clean water from the city of Charlotte. So here's a look at the departments. I just named a lot of those. Some I didn't talk about were housing and neighborhood services, planning and zoning. So when you're talking about what kinds of apartments can be built, how high can they be, where can they be placed, can they be in an industrial zone or a residential zone? All of those things are decided by the city's zoning department. And those are things that fall within city boundaries. They also have an economic development department. And economic development is something that you might read about when we have companies moving their headquarters here. The economic development department works with our Chamber of Commerce, which is called our Business Alliance, and it helps attract companies to come here. It helps them find a location and works with them sometimes on some incentive programs. We also have solid waste. So you'll see City of Charlotte trucks picking up your garbage. Stormwater services, also very important. The city and the county share stormwater services. So the city has smaller pipes, the county has larger pipes, and of course, the ones that go into county that's not in the incorporated part of the city. But those are very important to prevent flooding during extreme rainstorms and to make sure that those stormwater drains are clean and that the streets are able to be passable even during heavy rain. Some of the things you don't think about. Now let's talk about the people part of government. Mecklenburg County. Here are some pictures of just a few things that Mecklenburg County takes care of. Public health. We get a lot of vaccines in our minds this year. They also have court services. That's a picture of the courthouse there. Food trucks. So part of public health is inspecting restaurants, food trucks, making sure that they are safe and healthy and that you're not going to get food poisoning when you go to a restaurant. Historic landmarks, that's part of the county. Look at that map, all the historic landmarks we have and have preserved. Park and recreation, great playgrounds. Voting services, the Board of Elections falls within Mecklenburg County's purview and its budget. And then recycling, the county runs recycling and landfill services for the entire county. So again, here's a list of some of the departments that the county is taking care of. Of course, you can find this on the county website, but the Board of Elections we talked about, air quality, we didn't talk about that. Because they're public health, they are also monitoring our air quality. They have a department that looks at that, makes sure we're following federal regulations and helps companies comply with those regulations. They also have child, family, and adult services, child protective services, some other things, social services, code enforcement, community support, criminal justice, and the courts. They share some of those responsibilities with the state and some of that funding, but a lot of that funding comes from Mecklenburg County and the administrative office of the courts, here in Mecklenburg County to make sure our courts run smoothly. They also have an economic development department. They have the fire marshal, who again is looking at health and safety and inspections. Geospatial information, that's all those maps you see of properties in Mecklenburg County. You can look up property names. You can see where plots are. That's run by the county. Historic landmarks. LUISA is Land Use Environmental Services. And that is, again, working closely with zoning, with things like stormwater and water retention, looking at the best use of our land, making sure it is safe, and that we have enough room for park and recreation. The medical examiner, did you know the coroner is a county employee? Park and Rec, Public Health, Register of Deeds, Solid Waste. They run the recycling, stormwater, and they collect your taxes. So that's one of the things they consolidated with the city. Only the county sends out your tax bill, but they're collecting it for the city as well. And when they collect all that money, they give part of it to the city that is from your city taxes. Now, I just covered mainly city and county services and why those officials that you elect for the city and the county are really important because of all the things they're making decisions on. They're making decisions on how your streets are, how they're safe, how many of them have bike lanes, where the street lights are and the turn lanes are. They're making decisions about the airport. They're making decisions about your garbage collection and whether they're going to charge you and how they're going to recycle and what kind of bins. All these things that impact you every day. And also big picture things like non-discrimination. The city actually passed an ordinance that said, we don't think it's right to discriminate against the LGBTQ community. And there is a committee that if you feel you've been discriminated against, that you can go to. That's a city committee to explain and maybe even get recourse if you feel you were discriminated against. So these are some of the things that our local officials take care of. But here's a list of even more things. So we talked about the fact that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education is also on the ballot in 2023, but it's only the at-large representatives. So the Board of Ed has 9 representatives. 3 of them are at large. 6 represent districts in the county. It's a countywide school district. The 3 at large are up for re-election. Some of them are running for re-election, but there are 14 candidates in total for those 3 positions. You can vote for 3, but you've got to learn about all 14. And there are many groups that are doing surveys and interviews and giving endorsements. So you need to be watching that closely. That's a lot of candidates for 3 seats. The district representatives for the Board of Ed will be on the will be up for election in 2 years. So they have 4-year terms and they stagger them so that there's not 1 year when all 9 people might be brand new. Now, if you look at the list of other elected officials that we have here, they are also mostly 4-year terms. The city and the county commission are 2-year terms. Again, that's in Mecklenburg. It's not true of every county. It's not true of every city and town. But here in Mecklenburg, our city council, our mayor, and our county commission are 2-year terms. So you get to vote for them every 2 years. The ones listed here are every 4 years. Basically, we have elections every year for local officials here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So the sheriff, we know the sheriff runs the jail, also provides court security, serves papers, very important, working with our police department and the police departments of the surrounding towns, because Davidson, Huntersville, Cornelius, they have their own police departments in those cities, but they cooperate a great deal with Charlotte-Mecklenburg police. And we also share training and equipment with them because they are smaller departments in those surrounding towns. So Charlotte-Mecklenburg police will do some training. They have a SWAT team. They have a helicopter, other things that they can lend for working with those surrounding towns. The district attorney, very important in prosecuting crimes and helping with our administration of justice. Clerk of court, register of deeds, they're helping keep the paperwork going, helping make sure that you can access court records, whether you're filing wills and estates, whether you're filing a marriage certificate, birth certificate, all those things are really important, handled by the county. There are also judges. In North Carolina, we elect our judges. They can also be appointed to fill expiring terms, people who leave their position early, but we vote for judges. We vote for district court. We vote for superior court at the local level. Those are within Mecklenburg County. And of course, when you talk about state and federal, we vote for statewide judges as well, but we're talking local in this session. Finally, we have Mecklenburg County Soil and Water Commissioners. They are looking at the health of our environment. They work with some state and federal funds and make sure that those are coming to Mecklenburg to do things like take care of retention ponds, of soil use. We do have some farmland still in Mecklenburg County. How do we make sure we keep that soil healthy? What kinds of regulations do we need? What kinds of protection? You know, we had a big oil spill underground in Huntersville this year when Colonial Pipeline burst. The Soil and Water Commissioners work with the county and the state when something like that happens, and they are always looking out for our local concerns. So I hope that this was helpful. 15 minutes about local government. Hopefully that you enjoyed this conversation. We hope you will be an informed voter. We need everyone to get out and voice their support and opinion for candidates, for bonds, for important issues on the ballot. Here are some important dates for this fall. Mecklenburg County early voting starts October 19th. The general election is November the 7th, and primaries for president and governor and all those other big offices are March the 5th. It's right around the corner. Thanks for listening. And again, I'm Jennifer Roberts, and we're so glad that you care enough to be an informed voter in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. And thanks again for AMP America for sponsoring this series.